Charles, do you agree with Trump that the person, woman, man, camera, TV cognitive test was too difficult? Trump is not a very bright man. Um, he has never once indicated intellectual curiosity, discipline, or the sufficient attention span necessary to achieve in scholastic endeavors. Just who he is. He's a creature of reaction and instinct, and he could grow and become someone great, but he doesn't want to have humility. Wisdom and learning and the capacity to be great all comes from humility. The humility to accept that you don't know, the humility to accept that you're a beginner, the humility to accept that there are experts out there far more qualified than you, and to listen to them and learn from them and to work with them and have them help sculpt you. The Japanese have this philosophy called shuhari, and it's like the beginner's mind. You're an empty cup, and then you start mastering something, and then eventually after you've mastered it, then you become a master and you create your own school and variation of it. So it comes in martial arts, but it's also true for life in general. All things you do, whether you become a surgeon, you first have to learn how to tie knots and cut, and to just have the dexterity that a surgeon has. And there's fundamentals there, and they're universal, and they stick with you, and everything you do is built on top of that. And you're always going back to the beginning and making the beginning slightly better. My grandfather was a surgeon. He was an OBGYN, and he performed thousands of operations during his career. And I remember when I was a kid going fishing with him, and he would tie flies, and he would tie them with the same mastery that he would tie a knot while operating on someone. And he was a very good surgeon, and he had that just discipline and that ability to have that zen about it. Trump doesn't do any of that. Why? Because he's just a made-up person. He's always been a made-up person. There's nothing real about him. It's all show, and he's the great businessman. He's not really a great businessman. He's the great leader. He's not really a great leader. The only thing he has going for him is he's a wall that stands between us and the Marxism that the other party's been pushing into America. So you're left with this terrible choice where you have to either keep that wall present, in which case you deal with the enormous damage it's doing, or you have to embrace the Marxism that the other party is pushing America towards. What the hell do you do? This is a consequence of a broken two-party system and a broken nomination system. It's not good times, and that's why everybody's so angry and everything's falling apart. That's why we have protests throughout the street and people are lighting things on fire, and why people aren't listening to each other anymore. No. And this whole cognitive test thing. Oh, test hard. A test for whether you have dementia or not. Passing the test means you're normal.